Welcome to a self-published author's diary. I am Elodie Novodatsky. I write about first times, second chances, things that scare the crap out of me, and things that make me laugh out loud. I'll be speaking with you and sharing my adventures in self-publishing, the behind the scenes of writing, and the business side of it. And before we get started today, a small message from our sponsor, Anchor. Thanks for listening. Hi, and welcome to Feature Friday or 5 Questions Friday. My first guest will be my husband, Alex Novodatsky. But before I turn to the interview, which we recorded at the beginning of the week, I wanted to share with you several things. First, at the beginning of April, it was Adolescent and Young Adult, AYA, Cancer Awareness Week. Adolescents and young adults are more likely to receive a late diagnosis or to be misdiagnosed compared to other age groups. Patients and even their doctors often do not consider cancer because of how rare it is for this age group. So you may note that I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2017 and was in treatment until last year. So when I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, I was 36 years old and still a young adult in the AYA world. Yes, do the math, I'm going to be 40 this year. And I can testify to the, "Oh, but you're too young" comments and late diagnoses. And there are also, as with all cancers and other health issues, disparities, including racial disparities in healthcare, including in this particular age group that needs to be addressed. If you are on Instagram, the Ullman Foundation is discussing that topic with Tamika Felder, chief visionary at, and that's her handle, at I Am Survivor, CERVIVOR, as well as her experience with cervical cancer and additional factors affecting AYA care. The Ullman Foundation is dedicated to creating a community of support for young adults and their loved ones impacted by cancer. They say cancer changed lives, so do we. And definitely they have helped us. When I say us, it's me and my husband, because when someone is diagnosed, it affects everybody in their surrounding. I was very lucky that when I switched my care to the University of Maryland back in 2018, the Ullman Foundation was there for me and my husband. Megan from the Ullman Foundation chatted with us almost at every one of my treatments and was a wonderful support. I am adding several links to my blog article and the podcast show description, like this episode's show description. But again, if you're looking for the Insta handles, it is at Ullman Foundation, ULMAN, U would be in German, and I am not doing this podcast in German. And their guest this month, Tamika Felder, is at I Am Survivor, CERVIVOR. One day I'll talk about how the past years have influenced my writing, because they definitely have, I feel. And actually, it's a pretty smooth transition. If I would be teaching right now, that would be a pretty cool transition. I know I'm not teaching, but those transitions, even in podcasts, are important. It's a smooth transition to my next announcement. The book I have started drafting right after my stem cell transplant is available for pre-order. And it's on Goodreads if you'd like to add it there too. If you'd like to pre-order it, it's only $2.99. It's a special pre-order price. It's called, and it's one word, #The Leftover Bride. So it's like the hashtag, the #, The Leftover Bride. And it is releasing on August 18th, 2021, my 40th birthday. And here's the summary. The Leftover Bride is a second-chance romance set during the holiday season in a small town on Maryland's Eastern Shore. It's a story full of laughter and heartwarming moments, checklists, family dynamics, a stubborn cat, and a rescue dog. All Sorka O'Connor wants for Christmas is for her life to turn into a Hallmark movie, but sexier. Ryan Sawyer has a few things on his wish list. First, he wants to stay away from Swans Cove. Second, he wants his NHL career back. And third, he wants Sorka. Always has, always will. when wedding dress designer Sorka O'Connor got stranded at the altar and went viral as the leftover bride, she lost everything. Her fiancé, her thriving business, her glowing reputation, and her dreams. To forget the upcoming first anniversary of that fateful day, Sorka is ticking items off her 31 things to do before the 33rd list, and creating new dress designs, working day and night to get her life back on track. Not on her list, falling for her former best friend, at one point more than best friend, hockey star Ryan Sawyer, especially since he's now known as the Hockey Hottie. Sorka's got enough hashtags for a lifetime. Ryan Sawyer skated out of Swans Cove right out of high school, and since then he's stuck to the one item on his wish list he can control. And since then, he's stuck to the one item on his wish list he can control. He made sure he always had the perfect excuse for avoiding Swans Cove, hockey. But thanks to his injured shoulder, rumors about his uncertain future at the Washington Angels, and his mother's birthday, he's back for a quick visit. His publicist was crystal clear. Ryan's got to lay low and avoid stirring up trouble or risk losing his spot on the team. But he can't stop thinking about Sorka, the redhead who knows him better than even his therapist. Ryan wasn't there for her when she needed him most, and for that, she might want to shred him with her dressmaker's shears. Though, maybe he could just pass by and say hello? When Sorka's former runaway groom becomes the most coveted bachelor in America, virtual eyes focus on Sorka again. This time, Ryan's not going to bolt. Even when Sorka blurts out on national TV that both she and Ryan are working on their so-called happy lists together. Will the spotlight finally work in Sorka and Ryan's favor? Or will their past and the hashtags get in the way of their happily ever after? Yay! I'm quite excited about this. And I will share more with you all about the process of self-publishing this new little book of mine in the coming weeks and months. But for now, let me share with you my first interview on this podcast. Are you ready to meet the chemical engineer? Here we go. So I'm currently setting up the computer for my first interview on this podcast with my husband. You can hear him in the background doing, I guess...
It's called beatboxing.
Beatboxing?
Back in the day, we used to do that.
What day?
Long time
I don't know what he's talking about. We're waiting for the computer to start working. So this is the behind the scenes of this first recording. 1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Alex, hi.
Hello, everyone.
I don't know why he's losing. He's using a funny voice. So let's go dive right into the questions. You've been listening to my podcast and we've been married for almost 10 years this year and together for I don't know how many years before. What were you surprised to learn by listening to the previous episodes that you've listened to because you're amazingly supportive?
How complicated it is to narrate an audiobook and how when you use different voices, you have to actually keep track of them. Never really crossed my mind, but it makes total sense.
So he's referring to the episode with Megan Carter, the narrator of my audiobooks Fear Me, Fear Me Not, See Me, See Me Not, and A Summer Like No Other. I think it's episode 3. You've celebrated milestones with me throughout the years, and you've been to many events with me, because again, you're very supportive. Which moment or time stuck in your mind?
When this other writer called me handsome.
That's the only one that's stuck in your mind, that another writer called you handsome. Stop trying to push me to get access to the microphone.
Joking aside, although that moment does stick in my mind, I think one of the coolest moments was when a fan brought out a guitar that you signed for her. Yeah.
That was indeed pretty awesome. It was at the Baltimore Book Festival, and I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember. And this reader had a guitar, and so she had several authors who had written books with music inside of them to actually sign the guitar. So that was pretty awesome. I'm surprised you didn't actually mention another another thing, but
Which one?
well, if it didn't stick into your mind, that's okay. That's the purpose of the question.
I'm just a little nervous.
Just pretend it's just you and me and the cat and the dog, because guess what? It is. We don't even know if anybody is going to be listening to this episode, so it's okay.
No, that's it.
Okay. So why did you encourage me to do this podcast?
Well, because I'm a slow reader, and it just takes me a lot of effort to read stuff, and therefore I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of audiobooks. So I thought all the cool kids are doing it, so it would be a good idea for you to do it.
I think he just called me cool because I'm a cool kid, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you were to write a book, or rather, if I would ghostwrite a book for you, what would I write about on your behalf?
I wasn't ready for this question. I knew the next question. I thought of answers for that. What would you write about?
Like if I was going to write a book for you, like if I would ghostwrite a book.
Actually about how a lot of government investments sparked a lot of the technology that we use to this day. I think people underestimate how many breakthroughs were possible because in history, as society kind of supported groundbreaking research and enabled us to live the lives that we have these days.
I kind of thought you might say that. I was also thinking maybe about a biography. Like the life of Alex Novodatsky.
No, that's okay.
No, he doesn't want people to know about his life. That's why he's on a podcast with me. If authors wanted to write a chemical engineer as their main character, what are 3 things that you can share that you wished authors would make sure to include? And I know that, there is there's a wide variety of chemical engineers, like people are all different, but like what are 3 things that you think that people should know?
Well, one is, as you said, chemical engineers do all sorts of different stuff. So there's chemical engineers who work in pharmaceuticals, in the oil industry, in the food industry. So there's really just a plethora. There you go. That's a nice word. A plethora of chemical engineers working behind the scenes, and people don't even realize it. Number 2 is that obviously chemical engineering is the pinnacle of all engineering.
Of course.
Anybody you'd ask, especially anybody who is a chemical engineer, would confirm that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you ask an electrical engineer, they might not agree with you.
There is a debate on whether maybe electrical engineers are on the same level. I would say no.
How about aerospace engineers?
Not at all.
Totally.
No. And number 3 is chemical engineering is the engineering field with most females.
You have no idea. You said you needed to check the statistics.
That was true, I think 14 years ago, but you can fact check me, so Google it. I think it's probably
Please
true.
Do fact check.
Still probably true.
All right. I know I already asked 5 questions, and it's 5 questions Fridays, but I do have a 6th question. Let's be flexible, shall we? What is an audiobook you listened to recently that you would recommend? He's checking something on his phone.
Yes, so Dan Rather's What Unites Us was a nice book. And I also, if you want to hear something sad, since I'm recently joined the volunteer fire department, one of our instructors in our firefighting course recommended stories from Engine 82. So this is it's called Report from Engine Company 82 by Dennis Smith. So he describes being a professional firefighter in the Bronx from like the 60s to, I guess, the 90s. But anyways, very kind of interesting and also sad at times book. But anyways, that's what I would recommend.
Nothing else. You would not recommend any other audiobooks.
Fear Me Not, of course. by a up-and-coming, a soon-to-be famous writer named Elodie Novodatsky. Nowodazkij.
Diaz Dog, Azkij. All right, that was it. Do you have any questions for me? Like one question.
You didn't say that was going to be part of it. How about I'll just do some beatbox?
And that was it for 5 questions with the chemical engineer. Thank you so much for being here in our home today, Alex.
You're quite welcome. Bye.
Just a quick fact check. So I did some Googling about this, and based on an article entitled Factors Affecting Women's Persistence in Chemical Engineering, published in the International Journal of Engineering Education, that was an article from 2015, it said that chemical engineering is one of the engineering disciplines with the highest participation of women. Based on other articles, it seems to be between chemical engineering and industrial engineering. And based again on several websites and articles, it seems about 40% of chemical engineers are female. And on another note, I would be curious to know, if you do not know us personally and you are stumbling upon this podcast and listening to this wonderful episode with Alex, the chemical engineer, can you hear an accent? Because I do know I have a very slight French accent, but do you think my husband has an accent? Let me know. You can send me an email at a self-published author's diary @gmail.com or at elodie@elodienovodatsky.com, or go onto my social media at @enovodatsky. Novodatsky again is NOWODAZKIJ. Thank you for listening. Oh, and do not forget to subscribe, follow, review, share this little podcast of mine. That is super helpful. Thank you.